The topic I chose for my final discussion is women in sports, and more specifically kind of how women are scared out of sports in a way. The first point I want to talk about is kind of how if a girl says she likes sports, she has to prove literally everything. While a boy doesn't have to prove anything. He could just say he likes the San Francisco Giants and everybody's going to believe him. But if I said I like the San Francisco Giants, I have to talk about when they moved to San Francisco. I have to talk about their history in New York, their history now. I have to discuss any player that's ever played for the Giants. And it can't just be because, oh, I think Buster Posey's cute. I have to talk about why Buster Posey's an amazing catcher. I have to talk about his MVP awards. I have to talk about everything. I have to basically know his life story to prove that I'm truly a Buster Posey fan and not just because I think he's cute. And I get, yeah, some girls are just because they think some guy's cute, they'll say that's their favorite player, but doesn't mean every girl's like that. Just like every boy doesn't actually like sports. Oh, shocker, not all boys like sports, but it's true. Like, you can't just assume every girl is dumb when it comes to sports. I know things. And it's just so funny when I have a conversation with someone and they try to, like, say that I don't know anything or try to prove me wrong and I drop some knowledge on them and they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, I actually know sports and I shouldn't have to prove it to you. Like, you should just believe me when I say I like the San Francisco Giants, not ask me 1,012 questions about their history. Just believe me. Another way I think we're scared out of sports is kind of through sexuality. In high school, I had a friend who was too scared to try out for softball because her brother told her softball is a sport for lesbians. I played softball my whole life, and I'm pretty sure I'm not a lesbian. I love boys. They're great. Or if you're really, really good at a certain sport and you're muscular and built and super athletic, you're butch. You know, there's no way you like boys. You obviously like girls if you like sports. Like, that makes no sense. How is that a correlation? How is that related whatsoever? Just because I play softball, you know, I handle balls on the field, I can also handle them off the field. Like, come on now. I don't get how, in what way, being athletic also means you're a lesbian. How are those correlated? How is that connected? And even if you were a lesbian and played sports, why is that a bad thing? How is that a bad thing? I don't understand it. Why do we have to prove our sexual orientation to play a sport? You know? It makes no sense. Another way, I guess you could say we're scared out of it, is just if you ever sit down and really listen to the commentary. If you hear someone, you know, call a baseball game, they don't talk about outfits. They don't talk about the way they cut their hair. I mean, sometimes you'll hear about mustaches and beards, or the playoff beard, but that's the only time you ever really hear about anyone talking about a physical appearance. If you hear them call tennis matches for, like, Serena Williams, they talk about how her skirt made her thighs look that day, you know? You hear how Abby Wambach cut her hair like a boy. Who cares? These are some of the best athletes ever. And you're commenting on what they look like? That makes no sense whatsoever. That has nothing to do with their ability on the field. Nothing. Why does it matter? And the final thing that I think can scare a girl out of sports is how we are used as guinea pigs almost to test out things for boys. The World Cup this past year for the women was played on turf. And if anyone's ever played on a turf field, they know it's a completely different thing than grass. And FIFA just wanted to see true difference of performance on turf and grass. But you shouldn't test it out on such a high-stake competition like the World Cup. And if you really, truly wanted to test it out, test it on both boys and girls. Don't just make the best women in the world test it out to see how the men would be affected. You're affecting women too. They're not your guinea pig. We're not your test dummies, okay? We're athletes. If we want to play on grass, we should be able to play on grass. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And those are just some of the few ways I think women are scared out of sports, and then how it's unfair. You know, just because I'm a woman doesn't make me any less of an athlete than a man. Yeah, thank you for listening. And